Don't let your LinkedIn messages get lost in a crowded inbox. I'm Amy Walker, small business strategist, and today I'm sharing with you my 3 favorite top performing strategies for LinkedIn. I have used these strategies to generate actual high paying clients, and today I'm opening up my playbook for you. For all the tips that you need to grow your business while maintaining balance in your life, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit the bell notification so that you can be notified when we release new content every Tuesday. If you've been on LinkedIn recently, then you know that your inbox is full and most of those messages are really spammy and nobody's really looking at those anymore. So we have to do a better job with our messages than we did even a year or two before because they've got to get noticed. So what I'm going to share with you today is my all-time, out of all the messages that we've sent, all the campaigns we've sent, the 3 best strategies that have performed to take those leads and turn them into actual prospects that we get on the phone with and have a conversation and close into our high-ticket products and services. So if you want that, make sure you stay until the end. You're going to have 3 strategies. You can pick which one you want, start using it tomorrow, and by the end of the week, have actual leads for your business. So it's going to be a really valuable one. Question for you, do you already know how to use Sales Navigator? Because if you don't, you're going to want it for this. And you can go ahead and click up, find the video that I made on how to use Sales Navigator, and that will help you to be able to find the right connections and not just mass blast it to everybody, but send it to people who are actually targeted and good prospects for you. Also, if you haven't done it yet, make sure you get my new ebook, The Ultimate Guide to Building Your Business on LinkedIn, because it's got the actual scripts that I've used for these campaigns that I'm going to share with you. So this will be a fun question. Go ahead and post in the comments, what is your least favorite type of reach out to get on LinkedIn? I'll tell you mine. It's the vague one where it's like, hey, I just know we've been connected a while and I wanted to see if we could jump on a 15-minute call and see if we have any synergy. I'm like, dude, I barely have time to find synergy for my family and my husband. I don't want to get on a 15-minute phone call and talk about something really vague with some totally new stranger, and I don't even know if I'm interested in what you do. I absolutely hate those. So share with us, what is your least favorite type of message to get in your LinkedIn inbox? All right, before we jump into what you should do, we have to spend a little bit of time talking about what we should stop doing on LinkedIn. And to give you a little bit of context for this, what you've got to understand is that the game changes in marketing. And if we think that we're going to be doing the same thing in 5 years that we're doing today, you're crazy. The game changes. And there's like these pendulum moments where it swings from one side to the next. So when LinkedIn first started, it was all about personal connection and conversation. And then people realized that takes a lot of time. So then people started moving towards this place of a lot of automation and sending the same message to a whole lot of people and kind of blasting out. Again, people create third-party apps that allow you to do that. LinkedIn usually shuts them down fairly quickly, and there is some risk associated with that because they could also shut down your account. So you have to be really careful what types of things you use to like help with automation. But what happened was the pendulum was all over here. Like, I won't even accept a connection request from someone I don't personally know, to let me send this message to 1,000 people 1,000 times and see how many we get in. And it's just like a trickle-in theory, that it doesn't matter how many people are not interested because you'll find enough people that are interested. I get both sides of the pendulum because guess what? I've actually done them both. And here's what I'll say to you. I'm not saying one is right and one is wrong. I'll say you have to do what's working now. And what's working now is kind of in the middle. So things that we need to retire, we need to stop asking people to buy in the very first conversation. And you'll see those when you go into your inbox. You'll see those where they say, hey, this is my name, this is my service, this is what I do. I'd love to jump on a call and see if I could be a fit for you. Okay, that was cool 2 years ago. That was working 2 years ago. I used it 2 years ago. It's not really working today because of the massive volume of those that we get. When people very first started doing those types of like bold, direct, to the point reach outs, it was like, yeah, okay, cool. 5 people messaged me this week. That one seems like I could maybe use that service. Let me jump on with them. Well, now I've got 50 of those messages a week. It's a lot of messages a week, so we're not really getting much traction from those. I mentioned my pet peeve that's never worked for me, but the vague request for connection and synergy, that one's done. Please retire it. It's super annoying to anyone who has stuff going on. They look at that and they're like, I don't have time for that. I don't even know what you want. What do you want? So let's not do that one anymore. And then the other thing that I would retire is sending out just a long message. I think short is better now, but anything that's real long and that has a link where it takes them to purchase, those are not really going to perform well for you anymore either, because again, that pendulum went from one side to the other and it's kind of landed in the middle, which is where we do need to plan on doing a volume of reach outs in order to create traction. But we also need to have something that's a little bit more personal, is a little bit more connected, and is understanding that this is about building a relationship, not just a quick one and done. My next thing that we need to start doing before we can jump into the specifics of the strategies is we got to start thinking in terms of campaigns. This is not a one and done. This is not I just met you on LinkedIn. Hey, I just met you and this is crazy, but buy my stuff, right? It's not flowing that way. So what we are going to do is we're going to think of this as a campaign. And when you look at any marketing campaign, there's 5 components that you have to have for it to work. You have to have good marketing materials. That's your copy. The copy is the actual message you send. If you're sending any sort of a registration page or a landing page, you need to actually have that looking good, and people are not messing around. If your marketing materials are not good, they're getting so many marketing materials, they're going to pick up on the fact that you're not as professional as the others. So it's got to be good. Second thing is your visibility strategy. So that's where we're going to use LinkedIn Sales Navigator to help us identify who are the right prospects and be able to message through InMail or else through sending connection requests and then following up. Again, they do have third-party apps. Use them carefully, use them judiciously. Make sure you do your homework, because in my experience, they're here today and they're gone in a month when LinkedIn sends them a cease and desist, and then you're stuck. So be careful. Okay, so those are the first 2: marketing materials, visibility strategy, lead capture. Now, you don't necessarily have to capture the lead in the very first connection, but you do have to have a strategy for how you're going to capture that lead and take them offline. Lead nurture is next. How will you build a relationship with these people? And then the sales experience. What is the sales experience? Is it a webinar? Is it a phone call? Is it a live event that you're inviting them to? But they're not just going to go from, hey, I just met you and this is crazy, buy my stuff. They're going to need to actually go through a campaign. So we've got to think that through and we've got to structure that out. All right, I feel like the suspense has been building, and now I really am going to tell you what are my 3 top performing strategies of all time. And we've tried a lot. We've been using LinkedIn for several years. We have over 12,000 connections on LinkedIn. They are targeted. It's not just 12,000 weirdos. They're actually targeted connections. And we have generated hundreds of thousands of dollars of business through these types of LinkedIn campaigns that actually we're not running ads. They're not paid ads. They're just, we pay for them in time and relationship building. So here's our top 3 strategies. Number 1 is interviews, and I'm going in order of what has worked the best. Number 1 is interviews. So if you don't have a platform to interview your ideal client, I recommend that you get one. We have done interviews for our radio show when we had our radio show. We've done interviews for our YouTube channel. We've done interview requests for a book that I'm working on. And getting data. And so reaching out and specifying who you're looking for to interview and asking if they would be a fit or if someone in their connections would be a fit. We've had really good responses for that. Now, if you look at it and say, well, is that a bait and switch? Like, are you just saying, I'm going to interview, but then really it's a sales call? That is not what I'm doing at all. Remember, this is a campaign. So what that is that's lead capture. So that's where we get the lead. Then we're going to have the interview, and then that builds the relationship. So the interview itself is lead nurture. And then post-interview, then that's where we're going to ask if we can be of service to them, and we're going to move into the sales conversation. So the marketing materials are the reach out script and the scheduling process. The lead capture happens in the scheduling process. When they schedule, we get their contact information. The lead nurture is I get to actually interview them. We get to create something together. I get to know them, they get to know me. And then the sales experience is I simply ask them, a lot of times in the interview, something will come up that's a challenge for them. And I'll say, I'd love to offer you some help and support around that area. Obviously after, because during the interview, I always want to make them look like a rock star. But afterwards, that's totally in my wheelhouse. I'd love to offer you a strategy session. Let's jump on. Let's talk about your lead generation strategies. Let's jump on a call. Let's talk about building a sales team. I think that could really benefit your business. And so that's how we transition into a sales experience. You've got to go into this one with the thought process that, first of all, you're using it to create value. Podcast, radio show, YouTube channel. Create value by interviewing other people that are your ideal clients. And guess who else will find it valuable? Your other ideal clients. It's super useful for them. And then the second thing that you want to do is understand that this is about building relationships. You are not going to close every single person. You're not even going to offer a sales call to every single person because you're going to come across a few that just don't need you. They got their stuff together and what they need help on is not in your area of expertise. Refer them to somebody else. You'll also start building a really big professional network so you can do a lot of cross referrals. And I'm telling you, when you refer people to someone else, they have a tendency to want to reciprocate. So it's pretty cool. All right, the second strategy that I see is performing well right now is to give away a high value item. Let's talk about what high value is today in 2019. High value is great information, short, easy delivery. So something like giving away an ebook, something like giving away a copy, a chapter of your book, something like giving away an assessment or a report. People don't really want free courses so much anymore because nobody's using them. They want something they can open up, they can digest it, they can read it, they can see if they feel like you know your stuff, and then decide if they want to continue to stay in your pool. This, again, we have to think about it in terms of a campaign. So in a campaign, what we're doing is we're getting leads to come in. So the marketing material is the copy that you send, and it's also the landing page where they register for your free thing. The lead capture is where they actually put in their email so you know where to send it to. Then the nurture happens after. So now the nurture is going to be happening through whatever campaign you have set up. And then the sales experience, you can decide where you want to take them. Is it a webinar? Is it a sales call? Is it come to my live event? But that's what that one would look like. But it's got to be something that's high value and that's good. Don't waste my time by sending me something that's going to take a ton of my time or something that is not really good. Like, a bad ebook doesn't really do you any good because if they get it and if they read it, they're not going to be super impressed by it, so they're likely to unsubscribe sooner. So create your best stuff and create it in the most simple, easily digestible way and start in just offering it to people. Again, a lot of people are not going to be interested, but it's volume and you'll find people who will be. The third strategy, I will be honest, is experiencing diminishing returns, but it is still working, so we shouldn't just discount it yet. And it is the webinar. So what you're going to do here is create a really high value, shorter webinar. I would try to keep your webinar to 30 minutes. When I started doing webinars, we were doing 2-hour webinars and people thought it was great. Like, cool, I get to get online, I get to take a class, it's 2 hours long, they give me tons of information, I get off with pages of notes. It's hard to get people to get on and sit through those because they sat through too many and because there's too many people out there that are using it as a 2-hour long sales pitch and there's not a lot of value. So I would condense it, I would make it short, I would make it to the point, really crystal clear, and invite people to come and join you. A live webinar is always going to get better results in terms of them converting into the sale quicker than an automated webinar, but any webinar is better than no webinar. Again, you are going to need to reach out to a lot of people, and your registration rates and your show up rates are not going to be what they were a couple of years ago, but you can put this on auto rinse repeat, and it's pretty simple to do. It doesn't have to take a ton of your time, especially if you're going automated. Once you set that up, it's good to go. The other variation that I have tried with this is doing a live short masterclass or like a product preview where I only invite a limited amount of people and I'll get 20 to sign up knowing that I'll actually get 10 that will show up. So that has worked as well. It's a little more time consuming for you, but definitely the transition to a sales conversation is higher if you're doing it live and if it's more of a tight-knit group. So there you have it. Those are my top 3 performing strategies that I have used on LinkedIn over the course of my business that have generated hundreds of thousands of dollars in sales. I hope that you'll pick one of these strategies and you'll start using it. The important thing to keep in mind is this strategy is part of an overall campaign. So don't think that it's going to be a one and done. You're just going to send out a message through Sales Navigator and all of a sudden you have clients. It's a marketing tool and it fits into an overall strategy. All right, if you haven't done it yet, make sure that you go get that ebook because it has scripts in there. It actually has in there the script that I used when I was doing my book interviews and sending those as reach outs. And that was, again, my highest performing LinkedIn campaign ever. So I'd get the book, I'd get the script, and I would get going. And if you'll do it, here's the cool part, you can actually have new leads flowing in within a couple of days. This is pretty quick turnaround when it comes to the leads. So that is super exciting and I hope you'll get on it. If you want to join a community of like-minded entrepreneurs who can answer your questions, give you feedback, and just create a supportive environment, make sure that you join our private Facebook group, the CEO Spot. The link is in the description. And if you liked this video, please let us know. Like it, share it, subscribe to the channel, leave me a comment, let me know what you hope that I'll train on in future videos, and I hope you have a wonderful and productive rest of your day.